What do you want to be when you grow up? This is a question we all hear in childhood, and one that I would promptly respond to by saying, I'm going to be a ballerina. It was what I wanted, and I had absolutely no doubt that I could achieve it. We're all that way as children. I was that way, and I've seen it in my own children. We're filled with confidence, and we're absolutely sure that everything is possible. But as we grow up, over time, other things creep in. This reminds me of an instance when my son was just about 2 years old. And I walked in from the kitchen to the dining room, and he had climbed the chair, and from the chair climbed onto the dining room table and was swatting the light fixture back and forth for his own amusement. I, of course, was horrified and immediately plucked him off the table for fear that he could fall and cause serious injury to himself. I tried to explain to my son, as young as he was, that it was dangerous to climb things. And of course, as both my children grew up, I would advise them against climbing trees, ladders, and other things for fear of the risk of injury. And I wondered over time if instilling that fear would later prevent them from soaring to new heights because they were afraid of the risks involved, and particularly the fear of failure. This reminds me also of another instance that occurred when I was in high school. It was in the late 70s, and I decided that I was going to study law. And I was in my final year of high school, or second to final year of high school. And so I decided to go to my high school counselor and get some advice and guidance from him on what I should do to prepare to not only go to college and be a pre-law student, but then, subsequently get into law school. Interestingly, he advised me not to pursue that, and instead directed me to study to be a secretary. Now, it wasn't what I wanted, obviously, and so I wondered why he had advised me to study to be a secretary or a legal secretary instead of pursuing a law career. And it instilled in me questions about my own ability. Why had he recommended that I not pursue it? Did he think I was not smart enough? Didn't have the intellect? Were my grades not what they should be? And also, was it because I was a woman? I really would never get the answer to that. But it did serve a purpose. In addition, of course, to instilling a lack of self-confidence, it also had another effect. It lit a fire under me. It inspired me to prove him wrong, to show him that I could do it, that I was fully capable. Now, it was not an easy road, and throughout that entire process, from going to high school to college and subsequently to law school, I had, like everybody else has at one time or another, a fear of failure. And I also had a severe case of exam anxiety. But I conquered that fear, and I conquered all of those fears related to whether it was something that I could accomplish. And of course, even though I loved the field of law, I later, in a subsequent instance, discovered my true passion. And again, having learned from the past, I used those past experiences to realize that it was okay to pursue the things about which I was most passionate about, and I conquered that fear of failure as well. And over time, I have tried to reinstill in my own children that same confidence that they had when they were young. And this reminds me of a recent conversation that I had with my son. We had returned from a trip, and he came in to ask me a question. And I said to him, remember, whatever it is that you want to accomplish, if you set forth the effort, you can do it. And he looked at me and said, "Can't fly." And even though I was amused and a bit taken aback by that, I replied, "Well, we may not have the wings to fly, but people who wanted to fly in spite of not having wings put forth the effort and found a way to do so." And that's called innovation. So as you move forward in pursuing your goals, conquer your fear of failure. And using the principles of the 5 decisions, you can get there.